Hi, everyone. We're just going to let you all start rolling in, but I won't wait much longer because this will be recorded and distributed to everyone after tonight. But hi, and welcome to tonight's webinar about Lilly's Little Lunchbox. And I'm Zoe. I'm a campaign manager here at Birchal. And just before I introduce Chris and Cara from Lilly's Little Lunchbox, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that Birchal is based on here in Melbourne or Naarm, which is the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And we pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. And these webinars are a fantastic opportunity to learn so much more about the incredible businesses on the Birchal platform and hear directly from the founders. And as I mentioned, I'm here today this evening with Chris and Cara. And they're going to give us a presentation about, where they've been, where the business is going, and then we'll also have time for a Q&A session tonight too. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A bubble, and we'd love to have your questions come through, and I'd love to see you upvoting the questions that you would like Chris and Cara to answer most. And we'll leave some time for that at the end of tonight's session. And then very quickly, just before I do hand over, I just want to talk a little bit about Birchal's role. And the whole purpose of Birchal is to allow small-scale investors to invest in early-stage companies like never before. So, traditionally, fundraising and capital raising limits shareholders to a certain number and also to large amounts. So this has really changed the game and lets a lot of businesses that people believe in, support them to grow. And the crowdsource and Birchal is a gatekeeper to these investment offers, and we are heavily governed by ASIC laws. So we help these startups and founders who come through our platform to make sure that they're ready to take on new shareholders going forward. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Chris and Cara.
Thanks, Zoe. Hi all, thanks so much for attending tonight. We are super excited to see such strong support and interest in our exciting story and future plans. We too would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we are all dialing in this evening. So tonight is all about questions from you, but first our Director of Business Development, Chris, will run through a quick overview of our success to date and next steps in our growth journey. I know Chris will touch on it, but I wanted to personally recap on some things that I'm extremely excited about, and that is helping children with their future eating habits, the expansion of our service nationally, our new premises, growth plans, and most importantly, why Lilly's Little Lunchbox is here. So why is Lilly's Little Lunchbox here? So it was born out of an idea that I had probably about 7 years ago. I'm like every other parent. I'm used to waking up at 5:30 each morning to feed my daughter and prepare her meals for the day. So, I noticed that there was a lot of convenient pre-made meals for adults on the market, but there was nothing available to children. So I planned this concept for many years, and one that worked for busy parents, and one that also was nourishing for children with healthy and tasty food. So at Lilly's Little Lunchbox, each and every one of us, especially myself as a dietitian, are driven and laser focused on resolving two fundamental problems that we as a nation are all facing. So the first key thing is that Australia is on track to foot an $80 billion obesity health bill. And also the Australian Bureau of Statistics reports that over 91% of Aussie kids are not meeting their recommended daily intake of fruit and vegetables. So this is quite an alarming statistics, or they are alarming statistics. And it's something that highlights that it's extremely important to expose children to healthy and nutritious foods at a young age, to instill healthy eating habits in their future and into adulthood. And secondly, all of us as parents and carers and adults, we want the best for our children. So we want the best for their current and future health. And sometimes, or a lot of the times, we simply do not have the time or the know-how to feed our kids healthy meals that instill those healthy eating habits for life. So at a time when many tuck shops are dying, tuck shops are currently struggling to stay open due to being underfunded or understaffed. You know, that they don't have the ability to offer fresh and nutritious meals on a reliable and regular basis. We knew that it was time to launch a quality, fresh and nutritious product, dietitian approved, that focused on kids. So we're really looking forward to getting stuck into the Q&As, the Q&A segment tonight. But I'm going to hand over to Chris now with a little bit more of an overview on what we're going to discuss further.
Thanks, Cara. Hi, everyone. Thanks and welcome to the session. I'm Chris, as Cara mentioned. I'm the head of business development here at Lilly's Little Lunchbox. I'll provide a quick overview of the business, and then, as Cara mentioned, we'll quickly get into the Q&A. So for those that aren't aware, Lilly's Little Lunchbox is a relatively new business, about 15 months old, where we create and deliver dietitian designed, fresh and convenient kids lunches. And these are home delivered. We also deliver to schools and daycares, but home delivery is core to our business and something that no one else is doing for fresh meals for kids. Us as parents, we're time poor, as Cara mentioned. We all value our kids' current and future health. We're always looking for healthy options, but face it, we're often too tired and could always use the extra hour of sleep in the morning instead of preparing kids' lunches for school or even just for the day on weekends. So after years of planning, we launched the service here in Brisbane, and very quickly we've prepared and delivered well over 10,000 fresh meals, home delivered, in Southeast Queensland. And then we've, in the most recent months, expanded into New South Wales, focusing on Sydney, but we cover all of regional New South Wales as well now. So all within the first 15 months, we've expanded across Southeast Queensland and New South Wales, proving strong demand for our new product with quarter-on-quarter revenue growth. We've now locked in a comprehensive distribution partnership nationally, and our company is now poised to continue expansion into Victoria, South Australia, ACT, and far North Queensland, which we're all doing right now. Whilst we're focused on kids' lunches home delivered, we've also developed a product and a process that is in demand across other sectors, and that's including direct-to-school delivery, direct-to-daycare delivery, government-funded NDIS recipients, aged care recipients at home, living at home, and corporate and retail business as well. So that's corporates ordering our meals for their corporate events when they've got kids attending, and retail business is obviously on the cards in the future as well, looking at your Coles and Woolworths and petrol stations to grab and go when you're on the way to school. So our model is proven, our strategy is set, and capital is required now to put in place our comprehensive 3 and 5 year growth plans. Our goal at Lilly's Little Lunchbox is to be the world's largest and healthiest tuck shop, instilling the next generation of children with healthy eating habits. So off the back of our interstate success to date, we're excited to be positioning ourselves to move our business operations into some new commercial kitchen and warehouse premises. These premises, we've just signed a heads of agreement and look forward to moving into a formal lease it's the same premises where U-Foods just moved out of. You may have heard of U-Foods. It's another pre-made food business, but focuses on adults. And so it's amazing to have grown our business so much in the last 15 months, expanded nationally, and to be moving so quickly into larger purpose-built premises to help bolster that national expansion. And following in the footsteps of the giants that have led the way and proven these business models. So look, just quickly, within the next 3 to 5 years, we aim to command market share of the $1.5 billion pre-made meal industry in which we operate. Where, as far as we're aware, we are the first major mover in this space for kids' fresh meals delivered to homes. And we look forward to expanding that, as I said, into schools and daycares as well nationally. A quick recap. I know Cara introduced herself before. I won't go through all the detail on the slide there, but it's key to note that Cara is a mother, but not just a mother. She's been in the corporate sphere her whole life. She studied dietitian and nutrition and dietetics at university, has been working full-time or almost full-time for large pharmaceutical companies in the health and wellness space as a nutritionist, dietitian, and has always been around the health and wellness industry. It was Cara's responsibility so she's also Cara realized that she would love to help other parents. So sorry, we just had a technical issue there. We're back online. The core of this presentation is that Cara is the leading dietitian and product development manager here at Lilly's Little Lunchbox. She obviously founded the business, but continues her role as product development manager from her viewpoint of a dietitian. She's quickly established herself here in Australia as Australia's Lunchbox Queen, with Susie O'Neill, Olympics champion, recently saying a while ago on breakfast radio that Lilly's Little Lunchbox is an absolute game changer, and Susie O'Neill wishes that it was around when she was younger and swimming and training for the Olympics. The Aussie Lunchbox Queen has been invited recently onto national platforms as well, including Channel 9 and Channel 7, as you might see on the screen there, to discuss our national product launch. So we pretty quickly established ourselves as a credible national brand, which is now growing into a household name. But it's just the beginning. So sorry, those videos might play. I'll just skip through them. Briefly, that's me on the right there. I've introduced myself. I'm the head of business growth here, business development. I've experienced in business development for a lot of other businesses in the past, from startups to major international groups, with a focus on partnerships and international growth. So it's been quite exciting for both Cara and I to have the ability and have a passion project we've been so passionate about to leave our corporate 9-to-5 jobs about 2 years ago now. And we've been able to dedicate full-time our lives to Lilly's Little Lunchbox, the launch, testing it and expanding it over the last 15 months. And now we're super excited to be positioned to continue our full-time commitment to the business and welcoming on new shareholders as part of this crowdfund. Just quickly, we are supported by a number of advisory team members that we've been putting together. It's a growing team of advisory members. We're always looking forward to welcoming more females on the team as well. We have an extensive list of a growing team of kitchen staff, some men joining the team as well in that space. But just to quickly cover off our advisory team members that we've welcomed on the team recently that have really helped us grow in the last 15 months, especially in the last 2 or 3 months, where we've really made some advances nationally. On the left there, down the bottom, is a gentleman called Frank Di Pasquale, who originally, about 30 years ago, founded a business called Quality Food and Beverage, which he recently sold to Superior Foods. Both of those groups are coincidentally suppliers to our business. So it's been handy to have someone like Frank, who started a business in our space, supplying food and beverage to schools. It's been a wealth of knowledge and expertise that he's brought to the table, advising us and introducing us to improve supply connections to decrease our costs, and also introduce us to the premises that we're moving into soon, which is the ex-U Foods warehouse and kitchen. Also down the bottom there is a gentleman called Marty Rowan, who we welcomed on the advisory team recently. Marty's been a close friend of the business. He has experience working for other food groups like Nestle, He was also the executive officer to the former Lord Mayor here in Brisbane, Graham Quirk. We've been working very closely with Matt. He's been introducing us to a lot of suppliers and networks that have been helping us to expand our business. And likewise, Matt Lawson, we welcomed to the team recently as well, who has been providing expert financial advice for us and has really helped us set the path forward for our 3 and 5 year forecasting and modelling to look at the YouFoods of the world, the HelloFreshes of the world, look what they've done, learn from them, and model our business accordingly so that we can achieve or aim to achieve some impressive valuations like they have. A quick overview, I think I touched on before, of the pre-made meal industry in which we operate. I'll quickly run through this. A lot of this is contained in our formal offer document, which is in its final stage of being prepared, and we look forward to sharing with you within the next week or two. But some research conducted by Ibis World it has shown that the pre-made meal industry is a $1.5 billion per annum industry here in Australia, and that's growing quite rapidly. So we're quite pleased to be taking our share of that industry, specifically with a product that no one else is delivering. Everyone else is catering to adult meals, to meals for men after the gym, and now they're targeting women as well. Adults, no one else is doing it in a meaningful way. We have at least a 15-month clear runway, providing fresh meals for kids, and we look forward to continuing to taking and commanding our share of that $1.5 billion per annum industry here in Oz. Again, we'll provide more details around that in our formal offer document. Keen to get to the questions, so I'll get through these slides. Bear with me 1 second. Just a quick overview of our target market. Obviously, we're focused on kids and children, school age, anywhere from, we get some parents with very young children, a few months old, or what would be the youngest? It'd be a couple of months, or a year old.
A year
old.
Yeah, between 1 to 2 years old.
Yep, and we've got customers that are 90 years old. So we set out focused on children, but we found that there's the elderly that don't really have access to quality, fresh home delivered meals. There are other options out there for them, but a lot of them seem to be coming to us. And there's a lot of NDIS recipients as well that are looking for more improved, healthy, pre-prepared meal options that they seem to be knocking on our door more and more. So we're looking to be NDIS approved fairly soon to cater to those markets as well. So I'm sure you can see on the slides there that we're looking to target the over 7 million kids in Australia, and that 7 million includes kids, NDIS recipients, and elderly at home on the home support package. We're also finding that a lot of parents and carers of these kids are ordering meals from us for themselves as well. So we're catering to adults as well now, even before we've launched specific adult products, which we look forward to doing soon. As you would very obviously know by now, our meals are fresh and dietitian planned specifically for kids, but available for everyone. We don't just sell meals, so what we find our customers keep coming back to us for is the convenience and the time saving that they're getting through ordering Lilly's little lunchbox. They're able to grab the meal out of the fridge each morning and pack it in the school bag and go. No preparation, planning required at all. They're also, what we like to do regularly is introduce new products as well. Just to wrap up the lunchboxes, they do start from $9 per lunchbox. We do have snacks and other treats and add-ons from about $2.50. But our average lunchbox is from that $9 price point, which is roughly the same price that you'll spend at a tuck shop if you're looking to get a comprehensive meal with a range of fruit and veg. And to be honest, if you go into the petrol station, you'll see that you can get 2 sausage rolls for about $12. So but we see that we're quite competitively priced when you look at really what you get in our meals, which includes a main portion, fruit and veg, and a treat. And I'll just move through these. I am conscious of getting to some questions. We also have launched a range of smoothies, which are delivered frozen. You just need to pour in your blender, add some milk, and they're good to go. So kids and adults are loving them for breakfast as well. Our core of our business is the lunchboxes, but our smoothie range is taking off as well, which is exciting to see. So just a quick recap of what we've achieved so far. We've expanded our product line. As I mentioned, we originally launched with about 6 menu items. Now we have over 80 options of fresh meals, plus our frozen smoothies and add-ons. We've expanded our distribution reach from just Brisbane in 2021 to now having a home delivery pipeline into all major city and town centres nationally. We've launched in Queensland and recently opened up orders into Sydney and New South Wales. And right now we're turning the tap on into Victoria, ACT, South Australia and beyond nationally. We've tried and tested various packaging solutions and technology to extend the product shelf life. So, when we were having to deliver meals, we would have to deliver 3 times a week to customers due to the shelf life of the packaging. Now we are able to deliver once per week with the meals lasting 7 days plus in the fridge. We've also, I think I've touched on before, we prepared and distributed well over 10,000 lunchboxes. We've improved the product and the packaging and the composition of the meals based off feedback over these past 15 months. So we've really perfected what we've taken to market. Moving forward, as I've touched on, where the core of our business is home delivery. There's not a day that goes by without us receiving a phone call or an email from a school or a daycare looking for us to plug into their centre. So we're aware that that's a huge opportunity for us, as a lot of those school tuck shops and daycares are looking for help. And NDIS and aged care is also a major focus of ours, as I mentioned earlier. I just want to quickly touch on our sustainability practices here at Lilly's Little Lunchbox. It's very important to us. Obviously, we're instilling healthy eating habits into the next generation, but we're also very, very focused on teaching the younger generation about looking after the planet and how best we can all do that. So just looking on the left of that slide there, you can see that we actually launched with fully compostable packaging. As you can see there, the packaging looks great, presented well, but the technology wasn't quite up to standard for our customers who demanded a longer shelf life, as I mentioned before, for the meals. So as I said, back when we started, our customers were needing to receive 3 deliveries per week, which increases, obviously trucks on the road and carbon emissions. As the compostable technology at the time just wasn't quite up to standard, because it is critical that we fully comply with the pretty strict food safety standards here in Australia. So currently our compliant packaging is reusable and recyclable. It locks in the freshness for over 7 days, as we said, and customers receive their delivery weekly. There are some really exciting compostable products in the pipeline that may meet our regulatory requirements for food safety. We've actually just been meeting with our suppliers for our packaging earlier this week. This hasn't hit the market yet, but it's a product that we're excited to be exploring, which is again a fully compostable package. It does have a film, but importantly, it does work with our gas sealing technology, which locks in the freshness for 7 days plus. So it's exciting to be able to focus on sustainability as much as we want to. And that's just quickly, I am conscious of time, but there are some exciting businesses out there that we keep a keen eye on that are exploring the use of plant material and seaweed material that provide packaging that fully dissolves, completely sustainable. So we're keeping an eye on technologies like that so that we can adopt them as soon as they're ready to comply with our food safety standards. So I'm sure we're all aware of why we're here. The crowdfund opportunity through Birchal has been amazing, and we appreciate everyone's time and keen interest so far. thank you all for joining, and if you're listening back on the on-demand version, we very much appreciate your time. So I'm sure, as you know, that off the back of our success for the last 15 months, we know that we have such a huge and loving and supportive community out there of customers, but also those that resonate with our family values and brand. So look, as a result of all of that, we've chosen to raise funds for our next growth phase, specifically through a crowdfund, as we know that there's added benefits as well, in terms of it's a bit of a guerrilla marketing tactic as well. We've seen a huge increase in our sales since we've started promoting this crowdfund opportunity to our customers and like-minded savvy business investors. Our sales have really taken off just as a byproduct of promoting the opportunity for people to come in and invest and share in our success. So I'm sure you may have received some information from Birchal with some links to their website. If you haven't had a look, I would recommend jumping onto the Birchal website. They do have a range of very handy videos and articles that explain the whole process of crowdfunding and what's involved. A very simple process, and essentially it allows you to own shares, equity in our business with us, and share in any potential upsides, which is an exciting thing. So we very much look forward to welcoming any and all of you on board, and helping to fuel our success and future growth plans, which in the short term is going to be used. The funds raised will be used to help us cover rent expenses in the new premises for a short amount of time. Obviously, we look forward to sharing our message through advertising and PR into all of our new markets that we've expanded into nationally. There's some short-term labor expenses and corporate overheads, professional services, and standard floating capital required in the short term, next 12 to 18 months, while we really ramp up operations in the new premises to cater to the national demand that we've just turned the pipeline on for. So look, won't take up any more time. I could talk about this for ages. I know Kara's probably looking forward to answering some questions. So am I. Let's open up to you, Zoe. I'm not sure. I haven't had a chance to see the questions coming through. I'm sure you've been managing that.
Yep, don't worry. I got it.
Have a chat and hear from those that have any questions.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Chris and Kara. That's always great to learn more about the business, even when I've been working with you for the last few couple of weeks or months. So yeah, I'll just open up to question time. We've got a good half an hour, so we can take our time getting through all these, and I'm sure we'll answer all of them tonight. And to Deborah Palmer, I apologize. I wrote back to you and then your question disappeared, so I'll prioritize yours first. So Deborah was just asking, I think, how much, maybe in a week it would cost to feed a child with Lily's little lunchbox. I'm not sure if that's just for obviously the 5 school days, but I just wrote back saying that, lunches start at $9 per lunchbox and you have over 80 different options to choose from. But also Deborah was asking if you cater all year round and in the winter months as well. Yeah, do you want to handle that? You want me to?
Yeah.
Happy to. It's I think you covered it quite well, Zoe. We're just working backwards there. We do operate all year round, winter, summer, even on school holidays as well. So we do find that it's as I said, it's not just for kids going to school. It is for kids, but kids have at home as well. Parents to have while they're working from home, parents to take to school. So all year round. And pricing.
I was just going to say, with the all year round, we do have a lot of parents who may be traveling on holidays during those school holiday periods, and they're reaching out to us saying, can you have a delivery delivered to an order delivered to my hotel room? So we've done hotel rooms. We've done, I think there was a camping ground a couple of weeks ago. So we are open all year round. We're not just, it's not just for schools and daycares. We're open to, whoever needs us at whatever time.
Anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
And yes, pricing is from $9, but if you're looking for a more substantial meal pack, they're closer to $12, $13. So if you're looking at 5 per week, typically you can get 5 meals a week delivered for $65 would be the rough starting price.
Great, thank you.
Delivery, yeah.
Yeah, this question from Nairi has been upvoted a bit, and Nairi's asking you to elaborate on the strategic and specific plans that the business has in place to address the emergence of, a direct competitor in the future.
Yeah, okay. So two points to answer that question. The industry it's large, it's lucrative. There's hundreds of players catering to adult meals. We know we're not always going to be the only one doing this for kids. We know that others are looking at us right now and will probably have a crack. We know that people have tried last year and failed. We also know that the larger players like the HelloFreshes of the world or YouFoods of the world have had a look at starting it themselves and not. And we know that we're on their radar as a potential investment for them in the future. So we're aware that it's a lucrative space, that we believe there's enough market share for more than one player. We're confident that we're sure that there will be another come in. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. If there weren't profits to be made, we wouldn't be here. So to protect us as much as possible and to be ready for that, we're mindful of the why, which Cara covered off at the beginning. Others have tried and failed in the past. They didn't have a core why that was driving them. They copied what we were doing in many ways, but weren't really sure what they were doing. There might be bigger players that come in and mass produce these things without any love or care, and sure, there'll be a market for them. But why people keep coming back to us is the quality, care, and love that we put into this. And the fact that we have a clear 15-month runway ahead of anyone else that's coming through. We're national now. We have been in media nationally, and we will continue to be, especially over the next couple of weeks. So we're quickly becoming a household name. We know there will be a number 2, but we will be number 1. We're happy with that.
Nice. This is a question that I can take, and Chantal has asked, if we invest, how long do we hold the investment for? And if all of you tonight are not familiar with what crowdsource funding is and what it means to invest in a crowdsource funding campaign or business, I really urge you to head to Birchal's Help Centre and just read through a couple of FAQs so you can become familiar with this type of investment you could or would be making. Just to give you a bit of an overview, you're not investing in a company that is publicly listed or on the securities exchange. Therefore, shares acquired under a crowdsource funding offer cannot be traded on the ASX, and you should consider this quite a high to medium risk investment and consider it for the long term. When you do invest in these early stage companies, the incentive and belief and interest in them is that they will take their company far and wide and grow. And then when it comes to a point where, if and when they want to sell, they can, and that would therefore, allow you to sell your shares, or, there's a variety of situations where you could have your shares returned or receive a return on investment. But until, these companies list on the stock exchange, or get bought out, or, acquired, or, through some other sale or acquisition, you will have shares with them. And the companies usually are using the returns of investments or dividends to continue growing their company. And that's usually what they will reinvest them in. But you can understand a lot more about how they do plan to give those dividends and returns on investment by reading their offer document. And I'll also just share the Birchal Help Centre again, so you can understand a little bit more about the nature of these shares. This one's from Anna. How do you manage wholesale pricing and how will you remain cost competitive?
Okay, wholesale pricing, how do you manage it? So we have a range of suppliers to our business. So I guess we could talk about distribution first, and then what's important is the volume side of things. So when it comes to fruit and veg, which is a huge component of our input costs, obviously the main portion of the meal as well, and our treats. So they're all different components with different suppliers. Each one of them decreases in costs as volume go up. We've spent the last 15 months negotiating with, first of all, meeting and understanding the lay of the land in terms of suppliers, who's who nationally, and doing deals with them. We started off buying fruit and veg from Woolworths. Now we have our own bespoke buyer that goes to the markets and has the right connections to get fruit and veg for us. So, and within those arrangements, we have volume deals such that as our volume increases, which if we continue on the trajectory that we are, it seems that we will be at a substantial value that will result in substantial volume that will result in those reductions in input costs. So again, as costs are perceived to be rising across the board in the macroeconomic environment that we're seeing right now, it's nice to know that we're operating in a space where the alternative is for people to buy from Woolworths, which are more expensive than us, especially as we're getting those volume advantages as well. Also with our distribution arrangements with our national cold logistics and freight delivery courier drivers. Again, that's a volume deal. So as costs are rising for anyone else to be doing these things, our costs are going down as our volumes are going up. I hope that answers your question. I guess the core takeaway is we're mindful that that's a core component of our profit margins is costs. Again, this industry it's a volume game. So there's not a day that doesn't go by that a week that doesn't go by that we don't review and think about every cost input for our business and how we can affect volume to therefore decrease those costs.
Great, thank you, Chris. And I think Anna just then also asked, what are your target margins? But I'm not too sure what that means.
I think that could be referring to profit margins or EBITDA margins, which we just have to be mindful of certain disclosures and disclaimers around those type of forecasts, which we definitely have on file and love planning on our end, and we are finding the most appropriate way to be able to articulate that to everyone through our offer document, which will be made available in the next week or two. But what I'm doing personally is trying to have as many conversations as I can with the many investors that have expressed interest in our crowd funds. So if there is anyone that has any specific questions, and I'll go through these questions after this call and reach out to anyone whose question I didn't feel we answered fully, or if there's anyone that we didn't get to, love to have a chat and talk about that further so you can get more of an idea about what our targets are, what we've learned along the way in terms of profitability. Obviously, no one expects these things to turn a profit on day one, but what we've done is we've proven a cost of good model and a financial process that is aiming to achieve some key targets in EBITDA and profits in the next 3 to 5 years. So we're keen to talk around them and to them, to people specifically, and share that in the offer document to our best of our ability.
Yeah. Also, it's good to mention that people can also shoot you a personal email too through the Birchal platform. So if you do head into the Lily's Little Lunchbox campaign, there is a button that says message Lily's Little Lunchbox or contact us. So you're able to make these direct inquiries yourself too, if you would like to.
Beautiful.
Mark said, nice presentation and thanks for your time. is it a direct debit? I think this is a bit more, is it a direct debit arrangement or a customer's invoiced on a weekly or monthly basis? And I guess to add to that question, this is just my personal question. People get a lot of flexibility too when they're ordering from you, don't they? So they can choose to opt in and out on certain weeks and select however many number of meals they want, you know, however often they want. But I'll let you answer the question. So yeah, how are people invoiced?
So orders are processed directly through our website. So we have a subscription model. So customers can order on our website with a subscription model. They are automatically billed via credit card each week, and then their order is delivered to their home each week. Otherwise, they can do ad hoc order ad hocly. And with that, if we've got one customer right now that I can think of who I've just invoiced her and she's going to pay via direct debit. So we can do some little quirky invoices, direct debit, but it's predominantly credit card.
So I think we might have answered this early on, but you cater to a lot of dietary needs, don't you? And, you know, can you tell us a little bit more about how you do that and make sure that it's all covered?
Yes, so we cater to those who require gluten-free options, dairy-free, egg-free, vegetarian. We are council approved and we do have 5 stars. So our dietary, any dietary requirements are made separate to those meals that are, you know, don't have any dietary requirements. And we have no nuts in any of our meals because we do know that a lot of schools and daycares don't allow nuts within their meals, but we follow, you know, all the rules and regulations that council has given to us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the 5-star rating.
Yeah, and sorry, who is that 5-star rating from?
We are under Brisbane City Council. That is who, that's who we have to follow their rules.
Chris, you spoke to this at the end, but, you know, might be a good chance to talk about it a little bit more. But Kathy was asking what kind of packaging is being used and whether sustainability is a consideration. Obviously it is. You spoke to that at the end of your presentation. I
do have a quick summary to just address that, or maybe she asked a question before that slide. But just to be very clear, it's been a journey for us. We launched with fully compostable packaging because obviously we knew that would be what we wanted to do as a business. The market then determined or dictated that the technology wasn't quite there yet for freshness, so we morphed that into recyclable packaging, and we're looking forward to moving back to a compostable packaging that is now going to be fully compliant, whereas the old ones weren't. The technology wasn't there. There's no other fresh meal businesses that are preparing or delivering meals. So sorry guys, we've just got the dogs woken up or ready for their dinner tonight. But yeah, so it's been core of our focus of our business since we've started. It's been an evolving part of that business as technology has improved. So the compostable packaging is looking to be at a level where we can launch that again and still maintain the freshness and compliant food safety standards.
Cool. Yeah, and Kathy said yes, you did answer that prior to.
Sorry to waste more time. All good.
That's okay. Thank you, Kathy. Is the packaging easy for little hands to open? Current packaging is reusable. Is this returned during delivery? How does this work? So yeah, Chris just touched on that, just, you know, about the journey they're going on to obviously ensure that all of those sustainability practices are being met. And obviously it's a big part of the agenda for the business. have you had feedback that little people can't open the lunch boxes though?
One thing that parents are doing if their children are, if they're at daycare, they are transferring it into their little one's own bento box. So that's the other option there for the little ones if they can't open it.
Okay, cool. Once again, this might have just been asked just before we answered the question. So Cara, you covered off that you are catering to a variety of allergies and you don't include nuts in the whole process. I guess, maybe going a step further, are you always looking at how you can cater to vegan and religious requirements and, vegetarian children?
We do cater to vegetarian. Obviously, yeah, so that's what we cater to predominantly now. Yeah, we're always looking to expand our menu options. So, if there are customers out there who are looking at, vegan options or, religious dietary requirements, then, if they're reaching out to us, then we definitely will explore that. Always happy to cater to as many customers' needs as possible.
Cool. Thank you. We have a question that I can take, and that's just about what the expected investment amount is and how much someone can invest into your business. So we're currently running an expression of interest campaign for Lily's Little Lunchbox, and this is a really important period for the campaign because it does help us get a really good sense for what kind of interest there is, investment-wise, and how much equity or a part of their business Chris and Cara might be wanting to give away according to interest too, of course. So we're still very much in that discovery phase, and when we do open up the offer soon, we will have a minimum and maximum target for the campaign, and the maximum target essentially informs you how much we're going to cut this investment round off at. So if we set it at $1 million and you've got $1 million, then you'll be the only shareholder. But of course, we want to get in as many people as possible who express their interest, and the details will be available when we do open up the campaign in a couple of weeks. So keep an eye on your emails from Lily's Little Lunchbox. You also might get a couple from Birchal, and yeah, we'll be sure to be giving you the days and times and all the details going ahead. And once the offer stage is open, you of course will still be able to ask any questions you have about the business and the investment offer too. Another question about dietary needs. I think we just covered that one off, or maybe I answered it and then lost it. Anonymous attendee is asking, what is the current average gross profit margin and COGS, including delivery per order? I'm not too sure what COGS is, but I don't think, Chris, you can talk to this one, but
I can touch on it. There's a lot to it, but COGS being cost of goods sold.
Oh, so there you go. Sorry, my acronyms were lost on me today.
That's okay. So I'm assuming that question is trying to get to what the current profit margin is per unit. As mentioned before, these businesses are volume businesses. The likes of My Muscle Chef and New Foods, they're selling 1 million meals a month, 250,000 meals a week. Our goals are a bit lofty like that, but we understand that there's a journey to get there, and we're well on our way. We've established the product over the last 15 months. We haven't tried to earn a meaningful profit in that time. We've tried to prove a concept. We've tried to establish demand, and we've locked in exclusive and quite substantial partnerships with distribution partners and suppliers to our business. So and in doing so, I think I touched on our advisory team members who have helped us to devise a key possible COGS model and profit target for the business, that will, if we aim for, will be in line with those that are quite established in the industry. But those goals are looking to be achieved in the next 3 or so years. So there's looking at the business 15 months ago, there's looking at the business now, and there's looking at what we're aiming to be in the next 5 or so years. So a good summary of all of that will be in the offer document, and it's best to get that kind of detail and forecasting from that document, just so it's got the audited financials from the accountant and things like that. So just so to ensure that we're all compliant, best to look at that document. We're quite excited about those goals. We wouldn't be here if we weren't, and I'm sure you will be too. So thank you.
Cool. Once again, oh, hang on, sorry, I've lost track. So once again, Karen has asked, how much are you looking to raise and where will the funds be utilised? So I'll just touch on that again. The final figures of how much Lilly's Little Lunchbox are looking to raise is not final. They're getting a lot of attention and a lot of interest every day. And, you know, there's still some national PR to come, which means that we can continue growing these expressions of interest we're receiving. And that all informs that final number. But, you know, Chris, once again, do you maybe want to touch on how the final funds will be utilised?
Yep, I'm not sure if my screen is still sharing.
Yep, we got you.
Yep, so those items there listed are a summary of, again, what will be outlined in more detail in the offer document, with key weightings and exact budgeted spend as well next to those items will be in the offer document. But the crowdfund, and the reason why we're doing this is to fund those short-term costs that are listed there, which will help to in a meaningful and aggressive way expand into those national markets that we've just opened up into. And I think it's all pretty straightforward. It's to help with rent in that short term, wages for the amount of recruiting that we're going to need to do in the short term, just until revenue catches up and is able to cover those costs, and standard, you know, corporate overheads to manage those new staff, professional services, that includes annual legal and accounting costs in setting up new systems and arrangements nationally. All very straightforward and prepared for and ready to go. Just need to get the funds in the bank, and then we can activate that strategy. Cool,
thank you. I saw a good one before, and it was relevant to what Cara had been talking about. So just before we started this webinar, Cara was telling me that he had received an email from someone in WA saying how helpful the Lilly's Little Lunchbox would be to them in their life. Hadrian, sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly, said, being based in regional Queensland, I found the HelloFresh veggies to struggle with being fresh and not old or wilted, whether or not that was heat related. But are your packaging centres, based on obviously a national expansion, going to be based in capital cities? And, you know, how would you plan to make sure that all the meals stay fresh for regional deliveries?
Yeah, so what we're finding is that we don't want to talk about those other operators and their produce or their quality. They are publicly listed major corporations that have to squeeze costs and chase profits and returns for their shareholders, because they've grown to a point where that they have to do that, and that sometimes their produce suffers as a result. What we're finding is those in regional centres are coming to us because they don't have access to the premium fruit and veg that they can get from their local RGA. Some centres can, the likes of Mullaney and things like that happen to be close to nice produce. But what we're finding is, because we have, I think I mentioned before, a relationship with produce buyers that get locally sourced premium, the best of the best product, to then give to us, we can then ship that in a very short amount of time to our customers nationally. Or, we haven't hit Perth yet, but that's next on the list after we hit Victoria, South Australia, ACT. As I said, we're already in New South Wales and Queensland. So that fresh premium produce is able to get to metros and regional centres alike. We don't discriminate. And a lot of those are regions where if they go to their local Woolies or RGA, they're not getting the premium produce. They're sometimes getting the second-rate stuff after the metros are prioritised. So and our distribution partners as well do have a very extensive distribution network. So we aren't just delivering to we're geography agnostic effectively. So we deliver to those in blue chip suburbs where houses are $20 million, but we have more, and we value everyone equally, more customers in those other end of the spectrum that come to us purely for that quality and convenience.
Cool. We are getting to the end of tonight's webinar, so I might just finish off with one or two quick questions. And we'll have, except for someone who is asked anonymously, we won't be able to get back to you personally, unfortunately, but we'll go through these questions in the end and try and get back to any ones that weren't answered. I'll just take this question that's been upvoted a bit now. It's just a little bit more on, you know, how people can expect to receive a return on investment or their dividend. You know, this is something that the company can choose to discuss and talk about in their offer document when it does become publicly available, how they choose to reinvest these profits and earnings that they receive. But once again, you should consider this a high to medium risk investment and for the long term. So after answering this question, I will paste a good bit of reading for everyone into the response of the comment, but there is, you know, these shares are not liquid, so it is not possible to sell them once you have purchased them. So we do encourage you to do your research, consider the risk warnings that do come with investing through Birchal and crowdsource funding, and make sure that you have an understanding of what you are investing in. But I'll paste a helpful article for you in response to that question now.
If I may add one thing, sorry, Zoe. Thank you for your response. I just wanted to clarify, it is possible to sell your shares if there is a buyer of those shares. And it's our goal, and as I mentioned before, we are already on the radar of other players in our industry and the only way for them to grow is to acquire other businesses. So we are mindful of positioning our business in a way that obviously achieves our goals, which is to improve the healthy eating habits of the younger generation, but also the goals of our investors, which is to potentially see a return at the end of the day. And that could be through a takeover of part or all of the business. I know now our goal is to maintain a serious ownership and control of this beautiful idea and see it grow, but we know that there might be opportunities for other players in the space to approach our shareholders and offer to buy their shares. So that is a potential exit. And also, as Zoe touched on, profits, if and when they are available, it's obviously something that we all get to share in through dividends, and we look forward to sharing our dividend policy with everyone through the offer document.
Yeah, and people can learn more about just how those, you know, the shareholder rights work once a company is purchased or bought out by reading through your company constitution too, when that's available. 8:29, I think we're going to wrap it up here. But thank you everyone for joining tonight and for your questions. We will pull a report of these questions that haven't been answered, and we'll work on getting you a response back. Please stay tuned to email comms from both Birchal and Lilly's Little Lunchbox, as I mentioned, so that you're aware of when the offer will go live. Hopefully all of you have expressed your interest in this campaign, which means you do get early access in the first few hours or days of when the offer goes live. And yeah, we really are keen to see the interest in this campaign and, you know, everyone signing up to become an investor. Chris and Cara, would you like to say anything as a final note?
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you for everyone. I know that it's late, it's the middle of the week, but I do really appreciate you all taking the time to join us tonight to listen to what we have to say.
Yeah, thank you,
Great.
everyone. It's been great.
Lovely, thank you. And yeah, this recording will be available shortly. So if you want to go back and watch it again, we'll make it available for you to look at. Thanks, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zoe. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Zoe.
Bye.